All right, welcome to the Science of Connection. This is a great talk where we take some of the practical applications of how people's brains work and apply them to your content creation so that we can just connect better with our audiences. So, the first thing I want to do is a little bit different. I invite you all to close your eyes, put a hand on your heart if that feels comfortable, and just picture somebody who you love, somebody who is easy to love. Maybe it is a child, maybe it is a pet. Picture that person, picture that love just glowing in your heart, spreading around you. And now picture that light just connecting all of us, wherever we are, connecting all of us in that light and love. And picture just how grateful you are for that person, for the love that you have for them, and that light that they are in your life. Now, doesn't that moment, just one tiny moment, just kind of shift you and change you? It settles me in to be ready to talk about this. We're going to talk about what just happened in our brains and in our hearts, and how we can create moments for our community, for our audience. So I am going to go ahead with what you can expect to learn. So we're going to go over emotional triggers, visual triggers, and textual triggers. And what I mean by that is the things that we see, the things that touch our hearts, and then the things that we have in writing. So if you are just joining, you are welcome to turn on your video if you would like. You can ask questions in the comments, or you can turn on your video and ask them. I think there's a raise your hand thing that should be on, but you can always type in the chats if you have any questions. So who am I? I am Jenna Quinton, and I am not a chiropractor. So I've been freelance writing for websites and newspapers and businesses and all kinds of things since 2007. And then I've been helping chiropractors to tell their stories since 2014. Then as it all came together, I decided I really cared about chiropractic and loved chiropractors and wanted to niche down and just work with chiropractors. So I've been doing that since 2019 with Adjust Your Media. Now, all of this was really born out of my family. I'm a mother of 4, and my kids are healthy and happy, born at home, just vibrant people. But we still had things like sensory processing disorder, constipation, and it was really as I was looking for answers for my kids and for myself and for my husband that we realized what a powerful impact chiropractic could have in addition to our healthy lifestyle. And so now when I work with chiropractors, I want to help the chiropractor, but I'm thinking beyond that. I want to help the mom who's hiding in her closet on her phone, looking up why her baby has colic and what she can do to help them. I want to reach teenagers on TikTok who are watching fitness videos. I want to reach the dads on Facebook Marketplace. I really want to be part of changing the vibrancy of the health of the next generation for our kids. So a lot of this is from a book called Brain Centric Design. So I listened to this. Now I'm not going to think of her last name. Dr. Barbara was speaking at Focus Oklahoma City last year and really inspired me with this book. So we're going to take a little anatomy refresher and then talk about how we can apply those principles. So the prefrontal cortex, this is where our executive function happens. This is what we want to turn on. We want to get people making decisions and being able to actually engage that. A great way to do that is through emotion. It is through our neurotransmitters that we connect with our prefrontal cortex. So that is the goal. Then we have the amygdala, and the amygdala is really all about survival. So that is what is routing all the sensory information to the prefrontal cortex, or if it is not feeling okay, it's routing it all to the hindbrain. So this is really where it is sympathetic, parasympathetic, response. So an important part of our brains that we need to realize when we are creating content. So then we have the reticular activating system, and I know all of this is review for all of you, so hang with me. This is where it is filtering information. So if you are on your phone and you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, your RAS is actively looking at what matters to you and what doesn't, because it's just overwhelmed otherwise. So then we have the hippocampus, and this is like Google, and I appreciated that the brain-centric design compared it to Google. So this is where what rises to the top of your search list. That's where, like, if you think about all the things that you remember and it's all filed in your brain, some of it's got to come to the forefront. So this is where in our content, we need what is recent and what is available to go to the front of the list. So this is why, like, consistency in content is so important. So let's dig into a little bit more how we can use those. So engaging with humor and emotion is going to help engage that prefrontal cortex. Also, they talk about chunking. So putting things into chunks that people can assimilate and deal with and function with. The amygdala, calming it down. So it's not in an, oh, I can't think of the word now. Like where the amygdala like takes over and is just driving everything. So we want to engage it with familiarity, with maybe it is another provider who they are familiar with, or with stories that they can relate to, or UGC is user-generated content. So pictures maybe that a friend took and posted of you in your office, something that says this is safe and familiar. So then the RAS asks, what's in it for me? This is where graphics and video that really stop their scroll, that hit their pain points, that say, this is what I need today to stay alive. The RAS is really trying to see, like, filter through what is necessary for survival and what is not. In the hippocampus, like I said, it's easier to find what you think about often. So staying front of mind for people is really important for our brains and for moving information into a decision-making prefrontal cortex. So let's go with emotional triggers for connection. In the first minute, we talked about love and gratitude, feeling that love and gratitude as light from within us, spreading out to everybody else. And we want to look at that with our content, but then we want to look at smells and sounds as well, and how we can use those in content, which is pretty exciting. So there have been studies that showed neurotransmitters, dopamine, oxytocin, allow for more complex communication. So emotion is how we can take rather dry studies and things and make them relevant and make them emotional. Something that I have really found fascinating is this study by a Japanese researcher who was looking at water. Comment if you have already heard of this, if you love this concept as well. So it is, they studied water when they froze it. If they spoke words to it, what would those snowflakes look like? So Dr. Brad says, yes, he has seen it. So this is what the snowflakes looked like, or the water crystals, the frozen water crystals looked like when they said thank you in different languages. And it is fascinating that they're all very perfect and very complete. So they found when the information was in conflict with nature, an incomplete crystal will be formed. So the purest emotions, this crystal was formed with saying love and gratitude, which is just a beautiful thing. So how do we connect with people really on even a cellular level of the water that they are made up of? Love and gratitude. This is another researcher, Veda Austin. I hope I'm saying her name right. And she said this is water's specific response to emotion: love, stress, gratitude, frustration, and anger. She has a fascinating process where she has water in a petri dish and she freezes it part way so that it's not hard. It is kind of, she said, almost like a gel. And then this is the whether she said the words or did music or things. She studied that and does it dozens of times to get these results. And I think that is fascinating. So we can really think about just, it isn't just saying love and appreciate you. It is on a deep level in people's cells in the water that we're made of. So other studies, and these will all be in the notes that I'll send you afterwards as well, show how gratitude improves relationships, increases mental health, and really strengthens families in times of need. So that's all well and good, but how are we going to apply this to our content? Here's some practical applications. We all know that social media is on different levels toxic, and we can see the effect when we've spent too much time on it, how we feel. So in order to really inject more positivity, more love, more gratitude, I love when I can start creation and start creating content, start writing posts from a place of love and gratitude, instead of saying, ugh, what a boring task, or I don't know how to do this, or I think I sounded stupid in that video. If we can start it from a place of love and gratitude, just saying, I'm so grateful that I get to connect with people. I get to connect with my community today through social media. And if we start it that way, it's going to change even how we look and how we present that information. So then there are systems, and we will talk about systems that we can use so that we can be in our heart space, as Dr. Stu Bittman says, and not in our head space quite so much, so that we're not thinking about the nitty gritty as much of, I have to use the perfect hashtag. We're thinking more, how can I connect with somebody who really needs this information? So also with comments and messages and things, there's always going to be trolls. So we have to just work on responding to comments, interacting, just really out of that place of love and gratitude. Okay, so this is a funny question. What does abundance smell like? I would love for you to put in the comments, what does it smell like when you think of abundance? One thought that I had was, it's after a long, busy day. Maybe I've taken the kids on a field trip or done something. When I open my front door and I smell roast in the crock pot, dinner is ready. I just have to get out plates and sit down. That smells so good. It is also, like our kids say, that's the good beef. You know, it isn't the cheapest stuff. It is a nice roast, all ready for me, just waiting to feed me and my family. That's what abundance smells like to me. Now, I wonder how many of you absolutely are hungry right now and now smell beef. So yes, the ocean for me, absolutely. I love that. I'm in Kansas, so I need to smell the beach more often. Maybe it is a special perfume that makes you think of someone in particular. Maybe it's a new car smell. Studies have been done that show just how much odors activate our emotional responses. And they even studied that even just a word cued memory could be evoked just with words. We can remember that smell. And smell is really one of the strongest ways to remember a smell. So we're activating all parts of the brain with that. One example of this is Disney World. Apparently, I haven't been, but people tell me, and the websites tell me, that Disney World actually makes their parks have special smells to evoke that emotion and really make it magical. And you can even get candles that smell like it. So if a giant corporation has kind of dialed in, how can we use that for us? So one thought is, what does your office smell like? I am not a huge user of essential oils, but I do appreciate them. I'm not advocating for making your office, smell so strong that people are like, whoa, I can't even go in there. It's like the candle aisle at Walmart. Like, I'm not advocating for that, but it is something to think about. Is there a gentle smell? Is there a freshness to your office that people remember and that makes them feel welcomed? Also in your content, when we're writing our captions, can we use more storytelling that evokes like chips and salsa, or the ocean? Or can we bring them a story using some more of those sensory information details? So another part of this emotional connection is, what does connection sound like? And I know this is, again, something where it's like, oh, in words, how do we make a connection? So if you know who, this is a song that has meaning for me, comment if you know who sings this song, and we'll get lost together till the light comes pouring through. So when I was first married, we were living in France, and I went to go get my long stay visa to stay in France with my husband. And they told me, no, you can't get a long stay visa. You have to go back to the US, get your visa, and then come here. And we'd been married like 2 months. We'd been married in the US. It was just all red tape nightmare. And I was so scared in that moment that we were going to be separated. So I was walking down this street in Bordeaux, and I hear this voice in English. It is Michael Bublé singing in English from a car window. A car radio was playing this song and reminding me that I was not alone and that it was all going to be okay. And that was just so powerful and so emotional for me, that in that moment, there was music, there was sound reminding me I'm not alone. So how can we use music? So I think we have all heard this before, studies where they played music to plants and the plants did better. This is because music is structural, mathematical, architectural, and listening to it, research has shown it's going to reduce anxiety, blood pressure, pain, improve sleep quality, all of those things. I think we all have, turned on our radio, turned on our Alexa, and felt better with some music. So these studies are all in the notes that I'll share with you afterwards. But this is something too that I found, this interesting study where people were just supposed to be rocking next to each other. And when they did it without any music, they could keep a good rhythm. But when they did it with music, they were more connected. They felt more connected. So I think that that's a fantastic way to just remember that we can use music to build that connection. This is another study that it's a dopamine release when we listen to music that we like, not just a specific music, but music that we like. And again, those neurotransmitters are helping our prefrontal cortex to connect and, do more of the decision-making process of our mind. Yes, so I'm making sure I don't have messages. Think about this. I love movies. Think about how the music really made these two movies. If Jaws was playing Baby Shark, do 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 do, completely different movie, right? Or if in Armageddon, if when they are coming back victorious, if they had played "The Boys Are Back in Town," "The Boys Are Back in Town," that would have completely thrown off the whole mood and connection of the movie, right? So this study showed that the music is actually getting us ready to know what's going to happen, to look for facial expressions. So it isn't just that the music tells us, it really gets us ready for what we're supposed to be connecting with in the person's expression. I found that fascinating because movie scores are amazing. So one thing with sound and music that has come up in different questions for me over the years is ASMR, or back cracking videos. You can see this was a few months ago that I took this screenshot of Dr. Cody on TikTok. Millions of followers, 35 million views. Clearly people enjoy this. Why? So ASMR, autonomous sensory meridian response. Studies are finding that the regions of the brain that are lighting up have dopamine and oxytocin involvement. So that is, again, getting us to using our prefrontal cortex with those emotions. Now, I know that not all of us like those, but here's what I want to get into. So they showed that it is lighting up those different parts of the brain, and it is influencing a unique sensory emotional response and experience. I have linked those notes in the, or linked those studies in the notes so you can dig into that further. One thing that I do want to talk about is this study that showed that people who very much enjoy ASMR videos are people with a higher propensity for anxiety and depression. So introverted people are finding a lot of pleasure, a lot of relaxation in their brains in these videos. So my question is, can we make principled adjustment videos that connect with a specific group of people? And do we risk alienating another group? So my thought on this is, can we make a variety of videos, maybe some that have the sound of the adjustment? And I am not talking about adding extra pops and cracks. I don't think that is has integrity. Yes, some people do use like a lavalier mic to clip on the patient's clothes so that you can hear it. I think even if you just have the phone audio and no extra microphone at all, so that people can sometimes hear even that there is no pop and crack. I think that is a valid point to maybe try once in a while. I'm not advocating that you make all of your videos backcracking videos at all, but could we have one? And then the next one, we have background music. Could we have one that is showing a specific part of an adjustment? This is a huge question, and a lot of people disagree. So it is, I wanted to present to you the information and the studies so that you can consider what you are comfortable with and maybe see a little bit more why people would be interested in videos that have the sounds of an adjustment, those cavitations. So how do we apply this? What does your office sound like? What kind of music are you playing? Are you priming your people for healing, for connection? Then, like I said, the background music in your adjustment videos, and even in a reel where you are talking, you can put background music and tune it down. So what music is on brand for you, and what kind of music do you want to use to build that connection? Even in your writing, whether it is blog posts, email newsletters, or posts, using maybe even song lyrics, using onomatopoeia. I think I spelled that right. I'm not sure. But using some sounds and having a melodic rhythm to your writing. If you read it out loud, I have a 4-year-old who loves me to read Dr. Seuss at night, and it is really satisfying to me to see the melodic rhythm of his writing. Some sentences are short, some sentences are long, kind of thinking about how does this sound when you're writing it. And like I said, mix in some adjustment videos. You can use text overlays and captions to educate. So now let's move into our visual triggers for connection. Color, smiles, video. If this just popped up, I'm going to guarantee you smiled. And we will talk about why you smiled. This is my 7-year-old Alex. So using color, what colors do you associate with health? I would love to know in the chat, what colors do you associate with health? And I'm going to keep going as you answer, but studies have shown that people associate blues and greens with health and wellness, which I think is so interesting, because as humans, if we are blue, we are not healthy and well. And if we are green, we might be about to throw up. So I think that that's really, really interesting, because we see blues and greens in the natural world, blue skies, green grass, blue ocean. I think that that's really interesting though. Blue stores and logos have been shown to increase quality and trustworthiness appraisals. I think that that is fantastic. Ads in color are read up to 42% more. Yeah, and just all kinds of interesting stats on that that will be in the notes as well. Um, Colors are also part of our brand personality, so that people, we don't really realize it, but people are immediately making snap judgments based off of color and what those colors tell them. So this was a fantastic psychology of color graph, and you can see like Oral-B and Pfizer, they made it blue. Why? Different different, like Whole Foods is green. Those are brands that are wanting to have trustworthiness and that dependability, strength. So one thing that, just as you're thinking of your personality, are you wearing a business suit and is your office very professional? Then you might use certain colors versus somebody who is at the beach and wearing jeans and barefoot in their practice. Another thing is having passive colors and active colors. So maybe in your content, you have your usual colors, but then you need something that highlights, that says, click here, subscribe, register, something that stands out. So I included this interesting study, a German study from the 30s. I think it's German. Yes. That was talking about the isolation effect. What stands out gets remembered, what blends in gets ignored. So what are the things that you really want people to remember? What do you want them to stand out? You might use a pop of color and use something like from this graph where you're using excitement or in red or in yellow, that you want it to pop and people to be excited about clicking on your link, about coming to your event, whatever it might be. So smiles connect us. Every time that doctors tell me it's really hard for me to get photos in the office, or they tell me I don't really want to be on camera, I want to remind you of these things, that we connect with human faces. This is my stinker of a 4-year-old, Mateo, and you can't help but smile when you see somebody smile. And this is why it triggers an automatic response, is what studies have found. So you may not realize it, but when you see somebody smile, you smile, even if it is just a photo of somebody smiling. When an expressive face is perceived, a non-volitional emotional facial movement. So when you share a picture of yourself on social media smiling, when you share a selfie of you and a patient, people can't help but smile and smile back to you on social media. This is why it is super important. One thing that, I think I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, but this is why it is important to get photos of yourself and of your office. Now, the next thing I'm going to say is video is also important. And this is why. Wise Owl has lots of marketing statistics that are just fascinating over the years. But the main point is video is necessary in 2023 and the coming years. Marketers are using it. People are using it. People are asking for more video. 96% of people who have watched an explainer video to learn more about a product or service. So imagine that, like they're wanting to know, what is chiropractic? And then they find your site because you have a wonderful website and you have it dialed in for your city. And then you have a video on your website explaining what is chiropractic. They see what an adjustment is like. They see children in your office. They see older people in your office, whoever, they see athletes in your office. They see whoever it is you serve. They see that in a video. They see your smile. They connect with your voice, and they are much more likely to be willing to come and get adjusted. I have a free training at this link, adjustyourmedia.com/Owen Video. Owen Video is an amazing YouTube and business coach. It's phenomenal. I'm so excited that he did that training with me. So from connection is more important than being camera shy. Hire a photographer for a morning. I suggest you do this quarterly. Just have somebody come in and take lots of pictures. You won't have to worry about it. You can just be going about your day in the office and tell your folks before they come in, like, hey, Monday, we're going to have a photographer in, have the paperwork up front. You can put a media waiver in your new patient paperwork. I also, for video, I need to do it. You need to do it. Having a video day, like the first Friday of the month, the first Monday of the month, over lunch, we're going to get videos. We're going to do some Post-it notes, and we're going to say, these are the topics of what we're going to talk about on these videos. And you just knock out a couple of videos, 1-minute videos, 3-minute videos, make it easy. And then regularly building into your practice, asking your practice members to do selfies. I've given clients a chalkboard so that you can say, wow, you had a great night's sleep, write it on the board and I want a picture. Just a way for them to do a really fast celebratory, you've had, you finished your care plan, or you've had 50 visits. Let's, write 50 on the chalkboard and you hold it up and we're going to get a picture because we want to celebrate with you. And giving that idea of paying it forward to other people who are in that same situation, who are needing help. As far as video, just start with 15 seconds. Start with 1-minute reels, do 10-minute lives. Just getting a little bit of video out there is going to phenomenally help raise your connection. So now the third part, let's jump into textual triggers. I'm not even sure that I'm using that correctly, but it works for me. So what are the words, what are the texts that are going to trigger connection for us? I really love this picture because what we're doing is we're wanting to take all of the old information, the valuable lessons, the valuable quotes, and all of the solid information of our forefathers, and we want to bring it into the iPad age. So here are some ways that we're going to do that. So my 3 secrets for writing captions, there's 3 parts. The first part is we have to have a hook. So on the side here are examples of hooks. Basically, it is like on a newspaper, you know how newspapers are folded in half? We want to see what's above the fold. On an Instagram caption, it's going to be, what is that first line before it says read more? We want people to click read more. We want them to open the newspaper and read the whole article, but we have to get their attention first. On an email newsletter, this would be the subject line. So apply this to a subject line as well. It is, and I wrote it there so I wouldn't forget to say it, it's answering the amygdala. What's in it for me here and now? Why would I click read more? I have things to do. So then the second part of caption, we want to have storytelling. And we kind of talked about this with the sensory details, with the music, but these S's help me. I really like alliteration, but thinking of things like synonyms, if you say upper cervical, upper cervical, upper cervical, upper cervical, at some point, people are going to tune that out. So is there another word that we could use? Is there a synonym? Could you say atlas? Could you say C1? Could we, use words interchangeably? Also, sometimes just some silliness, whether it is emojis or, saying something like, I thought you'd never ask, or just something like that. Using space. My eyes are so tired. We really need white space. So not having a whole chunk of text, whether it is on your graphic or in your caption, break it up and make it really, really big for my poor tired eyes, please. Using stats, using studies, using social proof. That could be screenshots with somebody's name, erased. Just sharing all of this, telling it like a story, and always using a warm, friendly voice. When we try to sound super professional, a lot of times it just sounds cold. So here are some studies. We're exposed to 5,000 brand messages every day. Only 12 will make a lasting impression. I found that fascinating. So 81% of consumers need to trust the brand in order to buy from them. And think about that, especially if you see babies and families. How much does a mom need to trust you before she hands you her tiny newborn? I think that is an amazing study. So the third part, so we have to hook them, then we tell them a story, and then we tell them what to do next. So a call to action. It could be, which do you prefer? Comment and tell me. Did this surprise you? Or leave an emoji if, or share to your story, save this, send it to friends and family. I really like to do a comment and tell them a specific word to comment, like yes, or link, and get them, like, even though you could say, click the link in my bio on Instagram, or you could just put the link on Facebook. If you tell them comment link and I'll send it to you, they will comment link, and that will boost you in the algorithm as well. So your call to action, like on an email newsletter, could be reply to this email, or schedule an appointment. Your call to action on a blog post could be, if you liked this, read this other article, or things like that are going to give them a next step and move them down into that funnel of taking action. I also love to remember that sometimes I get ahead of myself. Asking them to leave an emoji is easy. So we want to give them something easy to do before we say, like, come get adjusted. So kind of not having every ask be a giant one is really helpful. And realizing they might not, even if you say, please leave an emoji, they might not. And you'll just have to keep going with it until they do. So with this, I wanted to point out that less is really more. They used to think that the magic number for short-term memory was 7 plus 2 or minus 2. That's how we got all of these long phone numbers. But then they revised it recently in the last 20 years and discovered it is 4 plus or minus 2. Like we really have a short-term memory. So this is why even we had 3 sections: emotional, visual, textual, and each of those had 3 sections. So think about that when you are creating content. Keep it simple, 4 plus or minus 2, whether it is points or slides or stories or information. I know we want to share all of it at once, but maybe do it in a series and maybe just give their brain a little break and help them to remember it by not overloading them. So practical applications: keep an office notebook, write all of your captions at once. I like to use a caption or a blog post, whatever I'm doing, and think of one specific person. So not, oh, this is valuable information for women ages 18 to 65, but this information is really more tailored to Gen Z, 18 to 25-year-olds. This information is really tailored more towards women who are, 55 and older. So think about how it would be viewed for one single person. Again, the topics. And I like to sit and let things kind of soak in and then reread it if possible, or get a second pair of eyes. So if you have any questions, I know that was a lot of information. Before I move into the next section here, comment with any questions that you have, and we will keep moving. So I want to show you a little bit more how to apply this in the next 15 minutes or so that we can stay on time. Think of all of your content as working together. We would love to just have new patients and referrals and reviews, or people booked in a membership, but we also are not just a brain. So your social media posts are kind of on the edges. Your infographics, engagement on other accounts, those are bringing information in at the most peripheral level, let's say. So then things that are going to move people up the spinal cord to the brain are going to be things like blog posts, YouTube videos, email newsletters, things that are going to nurture that like, know, and trust, and move them up to a decision-making part of their prefrontal cortex. But I love that it all flows and it all loops together, because if you get a review, you can post it on your social media. If you have a blog post, you can cut it up into pieces and use the blog post as several social media posts. So it all loops around, it all works together. So don't just think, I just need to do social media. Kind of think of it as a whole loop of information. So when I teach in my membership or work with my one-on-one clients, I show them that we've got 3 phases. We need to create content, we need to adjust it, and then we need to connect with people. We can't just kind of jump to connecting with people. And we want to engage and inspire them and educate them. I think I left out entertain, but a lot of times I want to just educate people. Like, even if I think about my childhood friend and I'm like, I just want to share all the information with you. And it's like, well, people aren't necessarily on social media to get a class. They're on social media to be inspired and entertained as well. So applying kind of everything we've talked about, I would encourage you to post photos, graphics, and videos. And videos are all listed there, even really short videos, office photos, photos of nature, photos, personal photos of you and your family, educational graphics, inspiring graphics, just really mixing it up. So when I say mix it up, this is what I give my members in my membership, giving them exactly what they can post with, I'm going to need some water. So take a second and look at that. But 4 photos, 4 videos, 5 graphics, and 5 posts that are text only, that gets you posting 4 times a week. And if you put this together, then at the beginning of the month, you can see, we just need to get 4 photos. Or, we had the photographer come, we just need to pick 4 of those photos. I just need to film 4 videos over lunch, or after, or on Saturday. Breaking it down like this really makes it all possible. And then it lets you see, like, who am I talking to? How am I going to get their attention? Who am I going to collaborate with? This is super helpful to just plan out a whole month of content. Then when we adjust it, what I'm talking about is looking at your insights. I like looking at them on Meta Business Suite. So you do have to have a business account on Instagram that shows you your Facebook and Instagram at the same time. If you have a YouTube site, a YouTube channel, you want to get the YouTube Studio app on your phone. And that is a super helpful way to look at your insights. This is just looking at, yes, what is your reach, like top of the funnel? What's your follower count? Are people starting to interact, starting to consider? And then are people actually clicking on your website, actually taking action? I did want to share with you 2 things that are working really well are Reels on Facebook and Instagram. They're called Shorts on YouTube, TikToks. I feel like there's another one. I think you can do short videos on LinkedIn as well. So I'm just going to call them Reels for time's sake, or carousels. Carousels are multiple image posts where maybe it has a cover and then it says like 1 sentence on each slide and you click through all of them. Those are doing phenomenally well on Instagram, on Facebook too. It's just a little bit different. They're presented differently. But when I look at these, what I want to look at is, where am I getting reach? Where am I getting saves? Where am I getting shares? I'm not going to ask the same post to get phenomenal reach and phenomenal saves and all of the comments. Like, I doubt people took 3 or 4 actions on each post. So on a carousel, what I might get is a lot of saves, and that's what I got on these studies. Whereas on a reel, what I might get is a lot of reach, although it is going down. So something to be aware of. And if it feels like it's taking time, maybe look at the individual stats on that one post so that you can see, oh, only 5 people commented, but 30 saved it. It was so valuable to them. It provided great value that they wanted to save it for later, or maybe they shared it. Like those 19 shares are referrals. So digging deeper into your insights before you just write it off as it's not working. in adjusting, engaging with others, this is something that is helpful in telling the algorithm who you want to see your stuff, but also just genuinely providing value in Facebook groups, in Instagram comments, and then also, I'm trying to go kind of fast here, but repurposing your best content. Once you have seen what's working best, you can post that same thing exactly 3 months later, 6 months later, 12 months later. This is what I do every December is I look at the top 10 or 12 best posts and I just repurpose them, just post them again as is, because if it was valuable to some people, then more people need to see it. So in this also, this is in the notes, so I'm not going to cover it very much, but hashtags are helpful. I just don't want you to work too hard on them. Hashtags can improve your reach by maybe 25% if they are really dialed in. You can use up to 30, but lately they've been saying like use less than 10. Just pick something that talks about chiropractic, something that is relevant to the post. Like if you're talking about a baby with colic, you might want to use colic or pediatric chiropractic or something like that. Something that your ideal patient would be interested in, like natural wellness or health matters, holistic wellness, something like that. But then especially for your location, you want to get a couple hashtags in there. Another interesting way to look at how is it working and so that you can make those adjustments is seeing this. So flanks.com, again, it'll be in the notes, but what is the rate of followers to engagement? And 1.94% sounds really low. That means less than 2 out of 100 people are seeing it or engaging with it. More might be seeing it, but 2 out of 100 are engaging with it. However, industry standard for health and beauty in 2022 was 0.32%. So if I see this engagement rate, I'm still really super happy. When we want to connect, this is the last section of this. You don't need 10,000 followers. You can get a really small following of solid people who love wellness, who love health, and who are in your local area. When people tell me, oh, it's hard to get people to, follow me and reach out, then I say, up your engagement, engage with other people, comment on the zoo, comment on the local mom's blog if you're pediatric, comment on, the Ironman, comment on gyms, really put value out into your community if you're having trouble with people following you. And I need to do that on some of my own accounts. I have been seeing that lately. So just being generous, collaborations, drives. Collaborations are really an easy way. Maybe you have a yoga teacher or a nutritionist and you can do a live together or an event together. And you can say, here's how the chiropractic helps the nervous system and helps you to be in parasympathetic so you can digest. And then the nutritionist talks about good nutrition once you have full nerve function. So those kinds of things where you would have a similar audience, doing patient appreciation day giveaways, all of those kinds of things are a great way to connect in addition to all the other things we talked about already. So I know sometimes people are like, how long will it take? And I always tell them, it's kind of like dating. Like sometimes there's an instant connection and sometimes you're going to have to date for a little while before you propose. But this is something I saw this morning. I had a comment on one of my clients' accounts where a woman, it was a reel, just a really short reel. And a woman commented and said, I need to get on your schedule. This is what can happen when you are staying consistent and you're in it for the long term. Content marketing is really, it is not just, we want to build a relationship because we don't want it to just be, a one adjustment thing. We want them to have a lifelong commitment to health and wellness. So as I wrap it up, please comment with any questions. I want to know what surprised you. What did you already know, but you see differently? And what do you still need help with? Also, I think I closed my other window. Because you joined me live, I'm going to drop a link in the chat. If you click on it, it will immediately download 100 memes that you can use. So thank you for joining me live. That's amazing. So you can click, if you click on that, it'll just automatically download the 100 memes for you. But yes, I want to know, these are actually 3 questions from the brain-centric design book that I talked about. Lauren says, need to do better at more engagement and consistency with posting, but doing really well at creating. Good job. Need to post more with these helpful tips. Awesome. And I will email you the slides afterwards as well, so you can remember all of those. And I wanted to put in like some of the what's it called, the like hooks and suggestions, the calls to action, because there's so many times when I think about oh, what is my call to action, and I'm just brain dead and I can't think of one. So I wanted to put those in the notes for you as well. If anyone is wanting a consultation call, if you just want to talk and have more questions, I'm going to put that link in the chat as well, so that you can see that and schedule that. We'll just do 15 minutes. You can tell me what's working, what's not, and then we can brainstorm together. And I do put, you can guarantee 3 to 5 suggestions of what I'm thinking to test and help. But yeah, I do know with consistency, I do encourage people, like there are seasons where I'm super consistent with video, and there are seasons where I am not, and that is okay. We can always come back to it. Also, with consistency, sometimes I realize I don't need to create anything new. I need to go back to 1 year ago or 2 years ago, and I need to just repost what worked well. Or even if it is something like, oh, there was an office that did that really well. I don't know how to say their name, Slante Chiropractic. But they did a reel that did really well on pregnancy and postures in pregnancy. And then they used they used screenshots from the reel and made a really engaging carousel with multiple posts. So sometimes if you need to be more consistent, just go back to what you've already done. That's why I like also having a notebook, so that you can go back and see, what have we already done? What did we need to do? All of those things. So yes. Any other questions? Anything that surprised you, or something that you were like, oh, I hadn't thought about that. I think sometimes I don't think about, I'm just trying to get the words down. I'm just trying to get the information down. And I don't think about, how could I add music to this? Or how could I add humor to this? Humor is something that I really want to get better at, because it's such a good way to connect with people. But even if it is just, a line from a song, like something a little bit cliche, like, is it me you're looking for? And you have a photo of the office, some humor like that. I would love to, if you have any chiropractors who are great and super funny, I want to follow them. So let me know, because I'm always working on humor, because I get in my head and then nothing is very funny. In those memes, I did put some funny things, some educational things. There's a bunch of studies. There's like 20 studies there. I'm trying to think what else is in there. Some quotes and stuff. So click on the memes, and that'll automatically download, and grab that link if you want a free consultation. It's good to remember that posting is a service to people, and I remember to be grateful for the knowledge I have. Absolutely. Yeah, it is. That's when sometimes especially lately, I feel like I've needed a recenter on, why am I doing this? The kids are out of school, the pools are about to open, or maybe they did open this week. And it's like, oh my gosh, why, especially if a post doesn't do as well as what I would like it to, views on reels are down, to just remember, why do we do this? We do it for that tired mom. We do it for the dad who, hurt his back at work and is like, oh my gosh, I guess I'm just old now, and who's then considering surgery, how much would it mean to him and to his family to know that there was an option? Even when I say people's lives depend on how well we use the power of connection, last summer, before, oh no, 2 summers ago, before my son started kindergarten, he was constipated and having leaking and just pooping his pants a little bit all day long. And it was a busy summer, and all of a sudden I realized it had been like 6 weeks since he'd been checked and adjusted. We got him adjusted like twice in a week, and he immediately started being regular, was not leaking, was not having any problems. And it's like, that isn't just on his health. Clearly, we want people to not be constipated, but he was about to start kindergarten. What would his social school experience have been if he just smelled like poop all day, or was having to constantly be changed? Like that affected me and reminded me this is so powerful. And I was immediately like, we need to tell parents that chiropractic can help their constipated kids. It really he started school with such a better experience. So that's just a reminder that I have to everyone. So if there's no other questions, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you so much for your time. I will send out the replay. I will send out the notes, and I will send the link for the consultation call. But until then, anytime, reach out and let me know how I can help and serve you, and have a fantastic day.